What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Cinema Experience
Podcast.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm your girl, JB.
And we have another wonderful show for you today. We are going to be going over Surrounded with Letitia Wright. It's a Western, so it's, got a whole bunch of shooting and violence.
Boom, boom, bang, bang. Okay.
So, Jordan, what did you like about the movie?
Okay, well, Cameron, I didn't even know this about myself, but I guess I'm kind of a genre girl. I guess I'm kind of into Westerns and cowboy movies.
Yeah.
And Letitia Wright is someone who is a unexpected cowboy.
Yeah.
In this movie that I absolutely love. I did not know that she was about to bring us this show the way that she did, this movie the way she did, but she really she bodied the...
She brought the violence. She brought the violence. She brought the vengeance, the justice. She brought it.
Okay. You just said it perfectly. Vengeance is what I was looking for. She was like, I'm not really trying to fuck with nobody. Like, she really was bodying the black woman experience. She was like, I'm trying to mind my business. I'm doing a thing. I got some good stuff going on. I'm going somewhere. I'm on my way to do something. And people are like, well, we're going to just go ahead and rob you guys' car. We're going to get in your way. We're going to cause you a hard time. And then once we've, gotten the law involved, we're going to make you babysit the criminal. Yeah. Good luck. And then we'll be right back. We'll let the black woman handle it, okay? They love to make us handle shit. But they didn't know she was a woman, so in all fairness, they just left it to the black to handle. But again, this whole time, she was just trying to be unbothered, and then she ended up showing us how badass she really was. Yes. Like all good Western films. Starts off with some unassuming person. Oh, they're probably not violent. And then boom, boom, bam. They're the sickest gun in the West. So, it was really great to see Letitia in this role. The trailer definitely does not do this movie enough justice.
Oh, at all.
It almost makes it seem like it's about color in some way, but those few moments where she's called a colored girl or whatever from the trailer, so insignificant in the grand scheme of the movie. I mean, honestly, the least important thing about the movie. Why don't you tell us, Cameron, about what you thought about the movie? Who was in it that, surprised you? Anything like that?
Well, I agree a little. I do think race was important in there, but I think it wasn't thrown in our face per se. But I think it is important because it takes place 5 years after the Civil War. So she was a Buffalo Soldier, so she was posing as a man, which they didn't really specify if she was part of the LGBTQIA community or if she was just trying to be safe.
Right.
Which both are valid. In this time period, you gotta be careful either way. That's but true. I thought it was I thought it was a very, very complex role to play, and Letitia did it very, very well. I was shocked I didn't know about this movie, and you told me about it. I hadn't seen anything about it, which why wouldn't we have? Yeah. Because she gave such a phenomenal performance. What I loved the most was because the premise is she is hiding as a man, but she's on her way to claim property for a gold mine out west. So she went on this journey to better her life and hopefully create a safer space for black people. And then she ends up getting robbed, and so unassumingly. And then after they catch the head crook, they make her watch him, like you said, but he's trying to get in cahoots with her and get inside of her head. He knows he ends up finding out, I don't know how he knows, but finding out she's a woman, so he's trying to use that against
He said,
her.
They may not look at you, but I can see. That's
exactly, he did. He said, I know what you are. But that didn't stop her from whipping ASS.
Also, sidebar for the fact that in this film specifically, he ended up, in some way, even after she killed him, being an ally to her.
Yeah.
Because he was giving her hints to find the money. And if she was smart enough to figure it out, she was going to leave with that money. Even though she had her gold mine dreams crushed. Because back in that day, some water really could ruin your life.
Exactly. Literally.
She was like, there goes my paper. I guess I don't have land anymore.
Well, especially during this time after, during Reconstruction, after the Civil War.
Right.
Papers... Well, for black people, never really meant anything because you have your free papers or have papers for something. They just oh, doesn't exist. And you're oh, that's crazy.
I know.
It doesn't exist now.
Yeah.
That's wild. So having to see her having that pain, having her go through that, she's like, God, because at the beginning It is a little bit. She's like, God grant me like make this journey safe, and I just want to get to the other side, and that completely doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But she ended up coming up on the up and up because she ended up getting all the money.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
But she ends up getting all the money, but it probably ends up being more than what she would have had when she was going to get this land. So in a way, God worked it out in her favor. But when I say it was a journey, it was like she ended up fighting. She ended up having to fight with some natives.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is wreaking havoc. All his goons are coming out, and she taking them out.
And like that part right there is the key element of why this movie was so exceptional, because we don't see often these Western films with black casts, let alone having the main character, this whoop-ass guns person, being a woman underneath it all. She's like a cowboy version of Mulan,
No, literally.
Like, I loved Letitia in this because she really was this hard-ass person, but also it was an action movie. These scenes were so well thought out. They were so, like it was definitely delivering, like from the guns and the way that they were poof, 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 and like the way that the camera would jump with the... I was like, who is filming this? And where are they standing?
Yeah, very appropriate for the time that it in. And that's the thing too, like usually like when you get something like this for black people or any person in general, like it has to be like kind of almost like a superhero type aspect, like not believable. But I feel like this was something I would have felt like it was like a history lesson. Like, this was Buffalo Sarah.
I know.
She took out,
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that based on a true story at the end. I was like, where is it at?
Because it seemed like that's something that's going to happen. And
this is how Harriet Tubman had to have been to get them slaves. I don't know. I mean, they don't talk about her being a cowgirl,
this is literally the Wild West Harriet Tubman.
It's giving saving the day. Giving black women are
changing history
superheroes.
forever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like the epitome of black girl magic, and I did appreciate that it wasn't like they had moments where she would say things that were like I guess you could say come across as preachy, but I don't feel like the movie was preachy. It was like you said in the trailer, like there were parts when she's talking about being a black woman, and I mean you're gonna have to talk about that because she is a black woman,
right?
And you need a monologue, obviously, in your
country role. Western.
Yeah, but I felt like you don't get the preachy vibes throughout the film. You get the action, you get the gist of the story. They're not trying to overexplain anything, but they're also not like neglecting anything.
Yeah.
And I do like how they showed to me, I liked how the Bandit and Letitia are low key the same, just like reverse. She's actually a good guy, and he's actually a bad guy. Yeah. Because he ended up at the end, he was kind of like pleading with her, like we can split this together. You don't have to do this, and she was like, nah, you gotta take care of it. Exactly, because you're not gonna do what you say you're gonna do.
So sorry, you're still a white man at the end of this.
And all I wanted to point out too, because literally, even when Michael K. Williams comes in, R.I.P., but like everybody was against her, even the black man. Like everybody that came into this situation was against her, but she still ended up coming up on top. So
because we know how to mind our business, okay? She was like, "Oh, okay, y'all just y'all not gonna give me nothing for watching them. Oh, you're gonna say that I should have did it, and oh wow, you just." Because he was trying to play her at the end when he came through, like, well, it was like, can you give her something? Shit, damn, we just held you down all night with this crazy person with chains on.
All these bandits that y'all have been looking for.
Right. She said, I don't know how they got there.
Play dumb. She said, sir, they came and tapped me, and I just woke up and everybody was dead around me.
Everybody?
Played dumb.
Yeah, but she did it in a man voice because she still didn't let up that she was a woman at the end. She was still a man at the end for them as far as they knew because they wouldn't look at her. Again, just if you're into action movies, westerns, that type of film, it was just enough. That's one thing that makes those movies so great because westerns typically simplify the storyline. It's not so complicated where you can't keep up if you're doing other activities, It was one of those things where I was like, oh, this was going on. Like, oh, dang, this is good. Action scenes were awesome. So then I kept tuning in, kept watching, and just seeing how they shot it. Now I'm so happy for modern film and how we are shooting things because the way that the graphics roll off. I mean, it's almost like in the Matrix. You know how when you see people bending, you're like, whoa, it was like 3D almost. It feels like that watching this film. So for me, 10 out of 10. I would definitely recommend just to tune in. And to touch on that whole preachy thing that you said it wasn't preachy. I do feel like it was a tad bit preachy because I don't enjoy it when we have to educate others on our blackness. And I feel like anytime that we're like telling a white person about our experience, as if on the other side of the experience, they're not the ones doing it. Yeah. I hate when movies like show you that because y'all are the perpetrators. That's like telling someone who's abusing you, hey, you know you're abusing me. Yeah, they fucking know. So it's not something that I enjoy seeing. So I do feel like her little soliloquies, her little monologues on the black woman experience, and you know what he better not say. I was a little perturbed by that, but also because I do feel like a white person wrote it. I don't know. I didn't look it up, but it definitely didn't feel like a black person wrote it. That's all I'm saying. It just didn't feel like authentic to a black person when she was like, you know what I've been through, and it's just like I didn't connect to that. I actually didn't connect to any of those. Do
you feel like it's important that black people have to be writers for black characters?
Oh, that is a good question. Because I would happily write a white girl, and I would be like, well, what? Did I do it wrong if I wrote too many likes in there? Like, I mean, I guess, you know, that's not fair to say only black people should write black people.
But if you're trying to always, but the thing is, I feel like, especially in Hollywood now, when these white characters write these black characters, I think they consult a black person. Yeah. Like, you're like, you know, Jordan, what should I write about a black woman? And a black woman will tell them, and then they just put that in a speech. And like, I've been through this, and that's the...
There should be a person checking over, like a sensitivity consultant, checking over these things that they are writing to make sure that they aren't, you know, stomping on people's toes and, you know, just doing inappropriate things. I'm not saying that they should have to be black to write a black person in, but when you are specifically talking about a black person's experience, as a black person in America, 3 or 4 generations down from slavery, I'm just going to say that it's not something that I've ever heard as far as like the things that she was saying to him. They were not anything that I felt like, it just doesn't feel like if you have the opportunity to teach a white man a black thing and you're like, ooh, black people have it so hard. I'm about to make this man understand the things that she was saying. They weren't giving the gut punches that I would have preferred. You know what I mean? Because we could have really had Tommy Walsh in a situation in that where he was really actually feeling empathetic towards her experience. And instead of doing that, like the stories that she told to like kind of let him know that she was not one to be fucked with, they just didn't do that for me. I feel like there might have been better, stronger cases to make in those moments. So for that reason, I feel like it was like not really a good use of storytelling for those moments. Which is why I would go back to calling it preachy. Because it just felt like, well, I'm telling him about me. Instead of being like, let me find a way to make you actually like empathetic towards me. Because they had moments where they were like, where they seemed like they were empathetic towards each other. So they could have opened up more pathways of vulnerability if those little moments of her talking to him weren't so preachy. That's what I'll say. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, I think you answered perfectly. I do think, again, like, I understand when you're trying to convey a message, and I know, like, especially now in Hollywood, we are able to be able to convey that message, but I just feel like it's not always being conveyed by us. Yeah. And I feel like that is important because if you want to really convey a message to the people, it has to come from the language of the people. Yeah. Not from the language of technically the oppressor.
Okay, go ahead. Because I know you're talking about Frederick Douglass right now. You're talking about the other lady. The lady you watched the documentary on.
Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Does not.
Yeah, she said he wrote that for a white audience, not a black audience. And sometimes
she writes for a black audience.
And I even think that Western with Letitia, that's why I said, I don't know, I should have looked it up. But I feel strongly that there were white people in the writing room for that film, because I do feel like that was written for a white audience to be like, ooh, yeah, she delivered that line, a line that they expected, versus a black audience, which is like, man, we got so many different cats in the bag to pull from. Why would we use that when we can actually just use some of the abuse that she lived through 5 years after
Civil War? And was a Buffalo Soldier?
She had stories.
And posing as a man?
Yeah, like there were better stories that she could have used, but I digress. It was perfect for. It was just enough meat and potatoes for this country.
Yeah, and I love the movie.
So. Yeah, and I love Letitia. Letitia.
Wakanda forever. No.
I knew I was gonna say wrong.
You have to. I had to.
Well, that's all that we have for you guys on this film. If you get a chance to check out Surrounded, please check it out. And let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks again for watching the Black Cinema Experience Podcast.